Hi there, I'm Jeff Evans with Low Country Weekly, and we're here at the 12th Annual Beaufort International Film Festival talking to Christy Westad, director of the short documentary Parched. Welcome to the festival.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're originally from?
Orange County, California.
And made the trek across the country for the festival. Parched is about water insecurity in Malawi. So tell me a little bit about the challenges that you had filming in Malawi.
Actually, we didn't have any challenges filming in Malawi. We had a really long time to prep. So we were sort of constantly in contact with the organization that we profiled in the film, and just did hours and hours and hours. I mean, my anxiety for the 6 months leading up to filming was so much higher than when we actually got there. On the ground, we didn't have a single issue. It was really well prepared, and what everybody kept telling us is just that everybody in Malawi is so warm and so open. Like, just trust us. Like, when you get there, it will all work out. So I'm not a trust person. I'm a worry and plan person, but it's just everything went really, really smoothly when we were there.
Well, that must have been gratifying, certainly. So talk a little bit about, I have heard things that say that the access to water may be one of the major issues in this next century. So can you talk a little bit about that issue and why you were drawn to the subject?
Sure. So I was drawn to the subject because we actually went to Malawi as part of a scholarship program at Chapman University. And so it was part of a program called Destination Africa, where every year they send students to different countries in Africa. And it's up to the students to find issues or local non-governmental organizations to partner with. So before we went, I traveled to the embassy in Washington, D.C., and just walked in and said, "Hi, I'm going to Malawi. What are some of the issues that the people face?" Because the common idea is, in Southern Africa, there must be an HIV epidemic, there must be a lot of things. And what I heard from a girl who was studying, getting her master's in D.C., but natively from Malawi, is it's the water, it's the water, it's the water. And it has become more critical in recent years just because Southern Africa is now in a really sort of critical drought flood cycle. So it sort of seems like every other year there's either a drought or a flood. And it's really hard to regulate the water tables and good access to clean water. So that was how we initially got interested in the idea. And she said there is an organization there that's doing incredible work. You should really talk to them. And so I called the founder, and he actually was there as a Peace Corps volunteer for several years, teaching English and volunteering, and just really fell in love with the people and the culture. So he founded an organization that works really differently than other NGOs, which is that they go to the villages and say, what problems can we help you solve, rather than coming in and imposing their idea and saying, this is what we think you need. And so they work in partnership with the villages, and the villages say, okay, this is what we want. The NGO partners with them for 10 years, and so they commit to being there long term, which is really different too. A lot of other organizations kind of fly in and fly out. So once the villages decide, and they have community meetings, and they vote, and they say, okay, this is the most pressing need. Either they pick, say, a nursery school or a home for teachers, or most of the villages lately have picked a borehole or a water project, just because until you get the water issue figured out, a lot of other things, really take second fiddle to that, really. And
sure.
So, that was part of the premise of our film, is the many ways that access to clean water really impacts people. So it's not just in terms of do you have potable water, but in what we looked at in the film is that the hospital doesn't have clean water, and so if you go in there to give birth or to have a surgery or anything, you have to bring your own water so that they can sterilize the instruments. Or what it means is that young girls are the ones responsible for fetching the water, so they walk 5 to 10 kilometers to get water, and they get back, and either they're so tired they sleep through the beginning of school, and then if they're late, they're not permitted to go into school. And so what our chief has said is that there's really now a critical impact on young girls being turned away from education because they're not able to stay in school, so a lot of them drop out, they have babies, so it really has this long-term ripple effect culturally and, socially.
Best of luck with your film. Where's your next stop?
For the festival, that's a good question. I don't know where we go from here, but I'm just happy to be here.
Wherever it is, we certainly hope you thrive,
Thanks.
and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.